Hi teacher, our theme of the seminar is acting. Occupation of performing. The performance of the actor as the artist of the work. The actor-artist creates, at every moment, a poetic action on stage, a unique action that generates an event that is also unique. Heritage occupation of the performer. Accent and diction and improvisational thrift and imagination and character staging.
Why do you downgrade acting as a profession?
What?
I say, why do you downgrade acting as a profession?
I think acting is like sculpture. In other words, it's what you take away from yourself to reveal the truth of what you're doing that makes a performance.
You risk nothing. I'm a fucking actor. This play cost me everything.
A performance, when it deserves to be considered great or important,
Il y avait une autre chose que je voulais vous demander.
is always entirely made up of the actor himself and entirely achieved by what he has left in the dressing room before he came out in front of the camera. There is no such thing as becoming another character by putting on a lot of makeup. You may need to put the makeup, but what you're really doing is undressing yourself and even tearing yourself apart.
I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my child! I've abandoned my boy!
Damn it, you just made...
Presenting to the public that part of you which corresponds to what you are playing. And there is a villain in each of us, a murderer in each of us, a fascist in each of us, a saint in each of us. And the actor is the man or woman who can eliminate from himself those things which will interfere with that truth.
I've been standing with you! I gave 18 years of my life to stand in the same spot as you!
I think of an actor as a person with various personalities. As a matter of fact, Somerset Maugham says it in his book, Summing Up. He says all artists are more than one person.
But I'm so lonely.
And you have to make sure that inside the artist, the actor that you choose, that one person that you need exists.
What life? I got no life! I'm in the dark here! Do you understand? I'm in the dark!
Actor or actress. The great Tira, they aptly today, according to historians from an Venusian's event. Television moves Tira. Fast actor. The Tira reigns Greece. Array of the Dionysius festivities in tribute the good Dionysius, good of Tira and Festillary. Century VBC Monologue Tira. Performing arts. T is also related to happening and the tears are often described as being big, the same trees. Some scholars say treaty is a slight difference. The bearing three types of its expression, mimicry, dramatism, dance, opera, audience, circles.
These are wooden cubes by the artist Rashid Areen. Now let's add a live element. Suddenly the structure becomes animated, producing unsettling and shifting interactions between the artwork, the space, and the participant. When this happens, we say the work has a performative aspect. This is a film about the mercurial, unpredictable, and unsettling world of performance and the performative, and how these terms have come to reframe our understanding of art. We start in the 1960s, at a time when some artists were breaking down the traditional boundaries between different media and raising questions about what art could and should be. These artists wanted to make life's unpredictable and changing nature the subject and material of their work. They believed that art which incorporated a life element reflected the modern condition better than a static painting or sculpture. They also wanted to make art that could not be easily bought or sold. The term performance came to define an artwork that had a live element and was witnessed by an audience. But as performance took root, people began to see that paintings and sculptures could have performative aspects too, like Jackson Pollock's action paintings, and Rashid Areen's cubes. In fact, it seemed that much of contemporary art had a performative aspect. Soon people were not asking what is performance, they were asking what isn't performance. But here's the thing. Performance is not a medium, not like painting and sculpture. It's not about what it is made of. It is a tool used by artists to raise questions about how art relates to us and the wider social world. And while it often involves an element of live action or an audience, it doesn't necessarily have to. It can just as easily ask those questions through a photograph or a document that have performative aspects. This photograph depicts the artist Mona Hatoum performing an action in which she walked barefoot through the streets of Brixton, dragging behind her a pair of Doc Martens boots attached to her ankles. The theme the artist was raising through performance, about the vulnerability of the marginalized to instruments of surveillance and state control, is conveyed with a static image. This document outlines a concept called the Flux Olympiad. It was conceived by the artist George Maciunas. He wanted to instill art into every part of life, even sport. But he was also subversive. So he invented games like football on stilts and a flipper race. He died in 1978 without ever realizing the work. But in 2008, 30 years after his death, Tate used the artist's instructions as a score to stage the Flux Olympiad. Sometimes it takes that long for life to catch up with art. Performance operates in the gap between art and life, connecting us to both. It is a living, shape-shifting, often hard-to-define entity that is there to make sense of our changing world and to include us into art's frame. It is why Robert Rauschenberg described it as art that refuses to settle.
Awards, it is currently a $1 million event that attracts millions of spectators annually. The 2020 Oscar for Best Actor went to Joaquin Phoenix, where he played Arthur Fleck and Joker in the movie Joker.